I go to Mariam Agi of the Element Children Fund. Ajay Mariam, what is the motivation for Element Children's Fund? And what can we learn from your experiences through working with Almajiri in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. I'd like to stand on existing protocols as well and appreciate all of the speakers who have spoken before me, and congratulate Mohammed for such a wonderful event and keeping the conversation open. It's a very, very important conversation, and like I said to him before, it may not be something that we may achieve in our lifetime, but the most important thing is that the conversation has started. We're talking about millions of children out there. One of the reasons why we are working with the Almajiris, and the fundamental objective of one of the things that we do as an organization, is to bridge the gap between funding for education and marginalized children. And we believe that the Almajiri children are one of the most marginalized children that you can find in northern Nigeria. When working with this system and trying to understand the underlying root causes of why we have the Almajiri system in the first place, Sheikh mentioned something very important, that when his parents sent him out there, it was to search for knowledge, and it was to search for discipline. And when we spoke with most of the malams and most of the parents, they would still give you that same excuse. But in reality, that is not the reason. The reason is what? The underlying root cause is poverty and absconding your responsibility of taking care of your child. And you find that these children are, some of the malams, and I may say this with all due respect, that some of the malams actually are very sympathetic to these children. You would find a school, one of the malams that we spoke to would tell you, I don't take more than 50 children because I can't cater for more than 50. I ensure that their hairs are being barbed, I ensure they have a bath every day, they have clean clothing. Another one that we're working with has over 1,000. Now when we look at that 1,000, what do you say? There's a certain level of exploitation right there, whether you like it or not. And this exploitation is what? Economical, right? There's the misconception that these Almajiri children are sent out there to beg, and whatever it is that they bring back, the malam takes. Not really. These children go out, yes, there's Kudin Laraba, as they call it, which is the money that they give back every Wednesday. But it all depends on where they live. In places like Abuja, they could remit up to 200, 300 naira in a week. In places like Kebbi, Sokoto, they would remit 10 naira, 20 naira a week. The rest of the money is what? They now keep the rest of the money, and at the end of the year, what now happens is they use that money for their own personal use from the research that we've done. Now, they mentioned the malams' wives. That is where they come in as well. Some of the malams will tell you, we collected their money, but to be honest with you, I ended up spending it, and after a while, I knew it wasn't a responsibility that I could take on myself, so I gave my wife that responsibility. And you find that the wives are very diligent in keeping this money for these children till the end of the year. But what do these children do with this money? These children, at the end of the day, use this money to fend for themselves. When they're going back home, they'll probably buy new clothing, they'll buy soap, and sometimes, and this is where the exploitation also comes from with regards to the parents, sometimes they remit this money back to their parents. So it's a vicious circle of exploitation from home all the way into the system. Now, we cannot throw the baby and the bathwater away. When you look at the system holistically, to be honest with you, there's some advantages to it. The parents would tell you, we live in a society where we don't have access to basic education. So because we don't have access to basic education, the only source of education that we can give these children is Quranic education, so they send them out. And they will tell you we want them to at least have a little bit of discipline and have Islamic knowledge rather than being complete stack illiterate with no knowledge at all. So when you look at it, like I said, you cannot throw the baby and the bathwater away. What can we take from this system? What can we use from this system? Where is our entry points? This is a system that has survived many generations. We are currently working with an Almajiri teacher in Adamawa State. He has a degree in computer engineering. Why is he an Almajiri teacher? He inherited it from his father inherited it from his father. It goes back how many generations, and I'm sure Sheikh, maybe you would be able to testify to that it goes back how many generations. So it's a thing of pride. It carries a family name and it carries a family value for you to come from a certain Almajiri school. And from our research, we found out that there are different grades to this Almajiri schools. There's the Harvard standard of Almajiri school, right? And there's the government school standard of this Almajiri school. And that is where sometimes you get the interchange, where the ones that are in the government level go to the Harvard school level to kind of gain some knowledge. So whatever reform it is that we're going to do and we're going to discuss, we need to ensure that it's inclusive. We need to ensure that we are taking them along. It is very, very important that they come along in whatever reform it is that we're coming along with. So I think, let me not talk too much and stop here.